Manitoba Liquor Marts presents The Great Tastes of Manitoba.
More great tastes of Manitoba lined up for you this evening. Welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. Mushrooms make it. That's the theme of this evening's show. And of course, we have Heather Deibert from the Manitoba Mushroom Growers Association and our good friend, Mr. Al Bowness from the Manitoba Liquor Marts, manager of specialty purchasing. Anyway, Heather, let's inform Al and the folks at home what you've got planned for us this evening.
Okay, as you said, the theme is Mushrooms Make It. And so what we're going to make today is a roasted Mediterranean mushroom pasta. So it's a nice roasted medley of vegetables with mushrooms, of course, on pasta. A Portobello Burger with a red pepper mayo, which is very tasty, and a farfalle pasta with sautéed mushrooms and thyme.
Oh, gosh, wow. Again, Al, lots of flavors, lots of interesting textures happening in there.
Yeah, some amazing things. I'm curious about the Portobello Burger.
Yes.
Is that going to be like a whole mushroom as a burger?
Yes, a whole mushroom as a burger, and it's actually basted with some balsamic vinegar and some Italian seasoning, and you bake it, so it's a nice flavor from the balsamic vinegar.
And then you'd serve it with all the trimmings like
all
you would.
the trimmings of them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
great, thank you. See you in a bit.
Farewell, my friend.
Okay.
Have
Yes.
a good journey. Send a card when you find work. Okay.
All right. So we're going to get started with the first recipe, the roasted Mediterranean mushroom pasta. And what we're going to start with first is, of course, mushrooms. And in this particular recipe, we're going to use a variety of two different kinds of mushrooms. I've used white and a cremini. And you can see there is a difference between the two mushrooms. The white, of course, is the one that everyone notices and sees in the grocery store and uses most regularly. And then the cremini is actually a darker color, so it's darker in color, it's brown, and it's a denser texture, and it's actually more of an earthier, fuller, earthy flavor.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is just, again, when you're preparing your mushrooms, you just have to brush them with a brush very quickly.
Or an old toothbrush, I guess, would be okay.
Yeah, no, clean. Or a wet cloth. Okay, and then just a little tip that I like to do is just slice a little piece off the mushroom and then lay it on the flat side, and then it's much easier for you to slice.
Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, it just, it doesn't roll around because, of course, the top is so round.
Now, let me just ask you, do you take the stem off? Or what I do at home, and I don't know why, is if, as an example, I have a mushroom such as this,
Yes.
I would just cut just a little bit off the end. Is that even necessary?
No, I don't.
No?
No, no. Any and when you buy them in the grocery store in the grower wrap, they have not been touched by any human hands, anybody's hands. You're the first one to touch them, and they just cut it off, and that's how you can use it.
Alrighty.
Yeah. If you feel that there is some, that it's torn or something, you can, slice it if you'd like. Yeah.
But that's a great tip.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is get started on the vegetables. So I've got my mixture of cremini and white. So we'll just add that right into the bowl. And as well, I've got some nice zucchini to add lots of color to this recipe. And more color from red pepper. So I've just seeded them and diced them. And you want the pieces of vegetable to be about 1 inch in size. And
they're
so
going to
then
shrink up a little.
They're going to shrink a bit, and you want them to be fairly uniform so they all cook the same time. Some wedges of red onion. And again, you want them fairly chunky because they will fall apart as they cook. And to give you a bit of juice and sweetness, 2 tomatoes that are quartered. So I'll just get you to just
stir it up a little?
Stir that up a bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a tablespoon of canola oil on them. And just
a little bit more moisture, and it'll help the
a little more
baking
moisture,
process.
and that's all we're going to put on them. And it's a very low-fat recipe because that's all the fat that goes into this particular recipe at this stage. That then gets put onto your cookie sheet.
Should I do that now?
Yep, just lay it down the middle. Okay, and then that gets put into your oven, and that now gets roasted at 450 degrees for 10 minutes. And you can turn it, not very long, because you want them to have a nice crunch to them. You don't want them to be mushy. Okay, so those go into the oven. While you're going to the oven, I'm going to just continue on with the dressing for this particular recipe. And in this dressing, it goes 2 tablespoons of canola oil. again. Okay, and some garlic. I'm going to put a bit of garlic in there, and that gives it a nice flavor. And the seasonings that go into this particular recipe is about a tablespoon of basil, a tablespoon of oregano, a teaspoon, sorry, some Dijon mustard, and that gives it a really nice flavor. Just add a teaspoon of that. Okay. Some lemon zest. Again, some nice Mediterranean flavors going in here, and a tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. So we'll just squeeze that right in there. And that is your dressing.
Now you pour that onto the vegetables?
Actually, the vegetables get poured into the dressing. So these are now roasted.
These go in here?
Yep, those go right into this bowl.
Ready to do that?
Yep, pour those right in. So they're nice and hot, and they actually melt, the dressing melts all over them. You then toss the vegetables in the dressing. This now gets put onto your cooked penne pasta, which we have here already cooked. So you toss that. You're going to pour that onto the pasta.
And then
you top it with some feta cheese.
Done.
Again, another nice Mediterranean flavor added to the dish.
Now you don't mix that, you just pour it on top.
And then you just sprinkle
little
it with
feta.
Yeah, and
Look at
that's
that.
your very low-fat roasted Mediterranean mushroom pasta.
Look at that, done like dinner. Stick
Yes.
around, we'll be right back with more great tastes of Manitoba. But isn't that beautiful? It's also vegetarian.
Yes.